When Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was first revealed, it was initially pitched as a prequel to the John Watts trilogy starring Tom Holland. The series was set to fill us in on the details Captain America, Civil War and Spider-Man: Homecoming didn't cover, following the young hero becoming a local legend. However, things quickly change, and the series turned into more of a standalone story, leading to an almost what-if inspired reimagining of the MCU mythos on the heels of a massive year for Marvel animation. The aforementioned What If wrapped up its final season, while X-Men '97 took the world by storm. The newest branch of Marvel Studios has slowly been charting its own path, so it comes as no surprise that their next series is all about the company's biggest hero. Does Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man do the character justice? After all, the web-slinger is no stranger to animation. Not only is there the Academy Award-winning Spider-Verse film series, but there's also the iconic 90s animated series, a cult classic in Spectacular Spider-Man, and shows from the 70s and 80s that help redefine what the character is today. While Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man might not live up to those unreasonably high expectations, it's still pretty darn good. What is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man about? Set in 2016, the MCU-adjacent series takes us back to when Peter Parker Hudson Thames got bit by that radioactive spider. While we're very much in a version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the events of Civil War are happening over the course of the series. Things quickly change via a new origin story for Peter and his supporting cast of characters. Notably, Nico Minoru Greysong is Peter's best friend instead of Ned Leeds' Jacob Batalon, while Norman Osborn is a prominent figure in New York, played by Oscar nominee Coleman Domingo rather than Spider-Man: No Way Home's Willem Dafoe. Once you grapple with all the adjustments to the show's setting, you're in for the usual superhero fare. Boy acquires powers, and he has a responsibility to help those in need, those close to him get caught up in his superhero life, and so on. That said, there's still a ton to love about this new incarnation. The show also uses a 3D animation style unlike anything we've seen in any Marvel series before. A blend of cell shading and panels makes Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man feel like an actual comic book come to life. While the animation isn't perfect, as the frame rate can feel a bit wonky at times, almost like watching a video game struggle on a PS5, it's easy to settle in for the ride after that initial hurdle. The art direction is directly inspired by the original Spider-Man comic books created by the iconic duo Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, creating a 1960s aesthetic that feels like a sharp return to the character's roots. It even goes so far as to change each episode's intro to reflect an iconic comic book cover from the original Spider-Man run. While the animation does feel ripped from the 60s, the music choices are more contemporary, adding a East Coast hip-hop flair to the series. That fusion of classic and modern really pays off, giving Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man a unique identity compared to past iterations. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is all about power, responsibility, and high school. As Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man takes us back to basics, it touches on a lot of Spider-Man's greatest hits. His origin, wanting to help his aunt pay the bills, missing important events because he's playing vigilante. None of this is necessarily new for longtime fans, but the series does offer some pretty big twists through its supporting cast and, in turn, changes Peter's journey as well. It's also surprising how heavy this show gets, touching on topics like gang culture and corruption on top of the usual teenage drama. Lonnie Lincoln is easily one of the best characters in the show, as the up-and-coming football star becomes caught up in a life he never expected. Moments like this are where the series shines. The character might come across as just another jock, but you quickly get caught up in his drama that there are moments where you don't even need Spider-Man to make an appearance. Lonnie isn't the only series standout, though, as Harry and Norman Osborn are successful reinventions of two of Spider-Man's most well-known supporting characters. Norman serves as Peter's mentor figure instead of Tony Stark. After all, he's somewhat of a scientist himself, which allows Norman to be present throughout, and while not all of his intentions are pure, he leans toward the side of good. Domingo's voice performance perfectly toes the line between a father figure and a sinister businessman. Showrunner Jeff Trammell Craig of The Creek and the writers on this series also deliver a fully fleshed-out New York full of diverse characters hailing from different cultures, races, and sexual orientations, and honoring the vision Stan Lee held for the franchise. This Marvel universe reflects the world outside your window and adds a refreshing richness to the show's world-building, especially during current real-world events. This city is far bigger than Peter Parker, and while he may not understand everything thrown his way, he still fights to protect those in need. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man delivers in almost every way. Yes, there's some strange animation at times, and sure, the main story beats are things we know like the back of our hand, but there's just enough here to make for a fun watch. It has amazing characters, spectacular art design, a sensational score, and the superior Norman Osborn. It's also a love letter to all things Spider-Man. Whether you're a lifelong fan or simply a casual viewer, there's plenty in this series to keep you entertained. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man premieres January 29th on Disney+. Gives Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man a 7/10.